Welcome everyone to another Access SoftTech webinar. We'll give it just another minute as we let our attendees trickle in. Well, it looks like our attendees have leveled off, so let's dive into today's webinar. Today, we're going to be talking deposits. Yes, please, how to drive deposits using digital banking as a communication channel. But before we start, just a couple of housekeeping slides. As always, we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions during today's presentation, feel free to leave them here in the Q&A function within Zoom, and we will get those answered for you at the end of today's webinar. There's also going to be a short survey. If you stick around and answer those questions, they help us serve you better on future Access SoftTech webinars. Speaking of those future webinars, we have a couple upcoming in February. On February 13th, we have tactics to drive higher adoption and loyalty in digital banking. On February 14th, how to love your account holders in the digital age. And on February 15th, importance of spot Bitcoin ETF approval and positioning digital assets. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Access SoftTech's SVP of Revenue, Larry Blaney. Larry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm trying to hit the unmute button. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. So, it's a very exciting topic today. The efficiency and impact of traditional marketing methods, particularly email, are waning. The Larky Nudge platform serves as a conduit for real-time, location-based notifications tailored to the distinct needs and behaviors of each account holder. It's not just about delivering messages, but ensuring that they're relevant, timely, and actionable. I would like to welcome Scott Brown, who will explain how Larky can help us grow deposits. Scott?
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Marcus. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Let me go ahead and jump right into it. So again, as Larry mentioned, we are here to talk about how to help you drive deposits, tapping into the power of digital banking as the communication channel to do so. For those of you that I have not yet met, I'm Scott Brown, VP of Growth with Larky, and I'm really excited to talk with you today. I think this is, well, one, I know this is topical because every conversation that I'm in with a credit union leader, they tell me one of their top priorities is driving deposits. And so we look at what we do, and of course we want to match our solution with our clients' needs and challenges. And so we'll dive into how we help overcome the challenge of not just bringing in deposits, but also retaining those that you already have. And so we'll go through some real world use cases. We'll talk about some of the challenges out there in the environment today and how we help credit unions like yours overcome those. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are, just for those of you that we haven't met yet. We'll talk about communication today, really like some of the challenges that we hear from your peers and probably from you as well, and just kind of the state of the union of the environment. And then I'm really excited. We'll meet Bob. We'll look at a member and how he interacts with the world. We'll talk about Bob and what's being thrown at him, what he's doing with his credit union, and perhaps if you have your own Bob, how you could better engage with him. We'll then look at real world use cases and how we've helped other credit unions overcome similar challenges. And then, but wait, there's more. We'll talk about additional use cases and the other ways that we help credit unions like yours drive engagement, drive adoption of products and services, build revenue, and drive loyalty through the digital banking platform. Finally, we'll save some time for Q&A, and we'll talk about some key takeaways and next steps. Normally, I would say let's be conversational, but in this webinar environment, that doesn't really work. So please, as I'm going through this, if you have questions, use the chat function, use the Q&A function in Zoom, and I promise you we'll get to all of them at the end, and we'll go from there. I'll go through this very quickly because let's talk about you and not us. But for those of you that don't know, we're a QSO. We help credit unions create meaningful relationships with your account holders in partnership with Access Softtech. Access Softtech is a terrific partner of ours, and they've recognized the need to help their clients, to help you better communicate with your audience using digital. We all know the way that we interact with the world, at least me. It's mobile first, right? And that is the general environment that we're in. So Access Softtech recognizes the need to bring you the ability to also engage with your audience through that very channel that people pay attention to. And so it's about giving you the utmost power to amplify your message, to drive revenue, to create those meaningful, long-lasting relationships with your members where you're continuing to add value, and to showcase products and services that, quite frankly, your audience may otherwise not know about. And so we are here to give you the ability to tap into our existing infrastructure, our existing integration with Access Softtech in a really easy way to accomplish the goals that you have set out. For those of you that have seen me present today, or before rather, some of this will look familiar. I promise you we're going to get to some fun stuff that is brand new. So if this looks familiar, it's because it is, but I also think it's important to just kind of reiterate where we're at and why we do what we do. The truth is we're disconnected, and we continue to be so. I mean, I'm sitting in a box on your computer screen. We're all in our own environment. As such, it's really, really difficult, and it's increasingly difficult to get your message across to your audience because people are just not as engaged as they once were, right? We're all in our own environments, in our own worlds, doing our own things. And so we know that we are not seeing members in branch as often as we perhaps would like. On average, it's about 4 times a year. The younger demographic is maybe half that if we're lucky. So then your question is always, well, we have things that we're trying to do, right? We're trying to bring in deposits. We're trying to attract new members. We're trying to get people to use our debit card and all the other value-added products that you have. But how do we increase adoption? How do we gain attention of them if we're not seeing them face to face? How do we increase our digital footprint through traditional channels? And it doesn't always work. Email is probably the primary digital communication channel. And I think I speak for a large group of the audience, if not everyone, when I say we're bombarded. We've had it with email, right? It's really easy for emails to slip through the cracks, and it's just that we get so many of them, and they've become sort of noise. Although there aren't that many other options in terms of digital outreach. So many of our credit union clients have embraced an email strategy to varying degrees of effectiveness. And so while I think it's important to have a multi-channel approach, what we're going to talk about today is perhaps a more meaningful, a more relevant, and a way that people pay attention to you in an amplified way. And so the whole thing, obviously, we all know we get a bunch of emails. People don't pay attention to them. But if we back up a step, you have great value that you add to the membership. And so let's figure out a way to get you out of that one-sided conversation where folks are actually listening to the things that you're trying to do. And in this case, I would bet the majority of you are trying to drive deposits. So let's pause for a quick sec. Let's take a poll of the room and just ask you this question. I'm very curious to hear your feedback. What products and services are you focused on to retain and attract deposits? And you'll choose from direct deposits, CDs or share certificates, savings account, HSAs or other forms of savings accounts, debit card usage, and other. Elena or Marcus, if you could post the poll question, we'll talk about the results in a moment. And choose any or all. You can choose multiple options. All right, and if we could end the poll, let's check out the results. Which I don't see. Okay, how about this? There we go. I do see them. There's a pause. I'm not a very patient man. Okay, so let's talk about these. And as a follow-up to this webinar, we'll be sure to share these with you. Interesting. The majority of you said direct deposit. I totally get it. You want that member using your account, right? You want their paycheck going in their account. You want regular activity. And so that's a really, really great way to drive deposits to those that aren't receiving a direct deposit, and also to retain those deposits from those that are using you. In second place is share certificates and CDs. We all know that it is incredibly competitive, but it's a really, really great way to both bring in outside deposits and also secure those that you currently have. So let's keep those in mind, and we'll kind of we'll introduce you to Bob, and we'll see what he's up to. So let's look at a member. I created Bob based on conversations that I had with credit unions, also a little sprinkling of my own personal life and just how I handle my own banking relationships. So I would bet that Bob resonates with many of us, and I would bet that your credit unions have Bobs or many Bobs. So here's Bob. Bob's your credit union member. He has his checking and savings account at your credit union. So great, multiple products, banking with you in some fashion. He does have direct deposit. It comes in every 2 weeks. So he's using you as his primary depository. He pays he uses his Amex for day-to-day spending. So when Bob's out buying coffee, going to restaurants, buying household goods, he's using his Amex. He's not using your debit card for whatever reason. He's glued to that American Express. Now, he does pay his Amex bill out of his checking account, so you're gaining some activity there. Bob, he says, I have a sweet high interest savings account at Ally Bank. So he's cheating on you a little bit, right? His auto loan is through Chase. He probably went looking for an auto loan, and the dealership had an indirect relationship with Chase. They had a great rate. Probably didn't think twice about his credit union relationship, took the loan through Chase. Bob says also, hey, not to brag, but I have a HELOC from Wells Fargo. Awesome, Bob. Bob has equity in his home. He has another banking relationship because likely at one point Wells Fargo offered him a great rate on a HELOC, and he took advantage of that for his most recent home improvement project. So look, I don't think this is a scenario that strays very far from reality. I bet we all have a lot of Bobs that we work with, and it presents an opportunity. There is certainly an opportunity to gain additional relationships, to gain additional value out of the relationship with Bob, but there is also a negative opportunity. There is an opportunity for these financial institutions, quite frankly, with greater resources and deeper pockets to eat your lunch. There's an opportunity because Bob, although he may just have a single product relationship with these other institutions, we know that there's an opportunity for Bob to do more with them. So let's look at Bob. Let's look at how Bob goes through life, and we'll see how is the competition talking to Bob. And so here's Bob again. We're glued to our phones. I certainly am. I pay attention when they light up. So Bob is no different. Bob's walking about life. He sees his phone light up. He grabs it. Hey, sweet offer from Chase. Chase is offering him a share certificate, a CD. They're offering him a really good rate, maybe one that he doesn't know you could match or beat as well. So he's got that. He's engaged. He's paying attention to his phone. He sees this notification from Chase. Uh-oh. Well, he's going about his life, and he also has a relationship with Amex. So guess what? Amex is sending him a push notification talking about their latest and greatest offer. He likes them, right? He uses their card. It's not too far-fetched to assume that Bob may open another account with American Express and to deepen his relationship with them rather than you. Remember, Bob also has a really good savings account that he called Sweet. He loves it. Ally's offering him an additional rate to bring in additional funds into the bank outside of what he already has with them. So the point is fairly obvious, I think, but there are competitive forces abound that even if you have a deeper relationship than what Bob has with his credit union, there are competitive forces that abound that are tapping into this channel because it works. And trust me when I say they're going after your membership. They're trying to eat your lunch. They're trying to take more of the banking relationship away from the credit union. And it's not just banks that do it. This is a channel that works. And so, like, if we step back for a minute and we look at how we interact with other organizations that we do business with, it's not just banking. Like, I get Target push notifications probably every other day. Some of them help me. Some of them tell me like when my laundry detergent that I use is on sale, and I tap it and it puts it in my cart, and it also gives me a $5 gift card for next time. It's valuable to me. I pay attention to it. Starbucks has a really, really strong digital presence. In fact, 30% of all of their orders were originated via mobile. And then if we look at another one that I get all the time is Panera. Panera is pushing almost half of their sales are digitally originated. So look, I don't think this is rocket science. I don't think this comes as a surprise to anyone that in order for us to compete as community financial institutions, we need to meet the competition. We need to do what they're doing, and we need to leverage the resources that we have because, hey, I'm here. We have these resources for you to continue to bring your brand front and center and to beat the competition at their own game and remind your members why you bring value to them, why they're a member in the first place. And so just be mindful of the fact that this is a critical communication channel. Others are really, really successful in driving deposits and building business through this channel. And quite frankly, you should too. But let's talk about some of the ways that you are using to promote and attract your deposits today. So think about you're tasked with a deposit generating campaign. Maybe there's a CD promo or a share certificate promo that you're working on. What channels do you currently use to drive that? Email, direct mail, website. Maybe you're doing some form of push notifications today, text message or other. Let's take a look at another poll question and see where we land. Worth noting again, this is multiple choice. All right, let's see where the chips fall. I'm being patient this time. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, so to no surprise, everyone, 100% of the respondents said email. I get it. That makes sense. Email is the primary digital communication channel today. And we'll actually talk a bit in a moment about a real world example of employing an email strategy to drive deposits versus a more digitally focused one. The wow for me is not far off is direct mail. It's so interesting. I get direct mail from the big banks all the time. My credit union, I don't think sends me mailers, but maybe that's because I do business with them. I don't know. I think it's an interesting strategy. It's an expensive strategy, but if you're having success with it, if you're having success with any of these channels, don't stop, right? I mean, this is all about complementing the things you're doing today and giving you the ability to both fend off competition and gain a greater audience through this channel. But it also doesn't mean that you have to abandon the things that you're doing today that are working. In maybe third place, website. We're driving traffic to the website. There's no surprise there. The website is our digital real estate. It's our digital branch to the world. Let's put all the value that we have out there, but perhaps use this as a channel to drive that traffic to the website. So when we do have that beautiful banner ad or that beautiful graphic on the homepage talking about the latest share certificate promo, let's use another channel to then drive traffic to that. And we'll actually talk about that in a moment as well. So it's about being proactive with your messaging and again, using a channel that people pay attention to. So as we see Bob going about the world with his multiple banking relationships, his phone lights up, he pays attention to it. I'm the same way. By the way, that's me. I'm not Bob in full, but that's me. I walk about the world. I'm doing my thing. I'm focused on a million different things. I look at my phone when it goes from black to lit up and I see that message, I pay attention to it. Many of us are wired that same way. And so when we do compare traditional communication versus what we do, which is digital push notifications, we continue to see 7 times plus the results of traditional channels. And it is simply because through our integration with Access Softtech, you have the ability to light up your members' phones and to drive your messaging front and center. And so again, it is, yes, we're talking about deposits and bringing in those valuable deposits and keeping those that we have, but it's also about driving the sales of all your products and services and creating those meaningful, long-lasting relationships with your member because you're driving your brand front and center. And again, you're reminding them of your value proposition. All right, let's get real. We have a situation. If I have my Jersey Shore fans, you'll appreciate this. Maybe people are rolling their eyes at me, but I couldn't resist. So we have a situation. Currently, officially, a situation. So let's look at this real world example, and then we'll talk about how we could handle that, how we could overcome some of these challenges, and how we could accomplish this objective. So in this scenario, and I hope this rings true for many of you, I think it will. I'm hearing this from our clients that we're talking to, but credit union leadership is concerned about liquidity and deposit runoff. I don't think that is a foreign concept to anyone right now. The CFO has tasked marketing with attracting and retaining deposits. Hey guys, we have this scenario. Do what you do. Put your marketing hats on, figure out how to bring in deposits, and figure out how to keep those that we already have. Competitive forces are everywhere. There's no doubt that that's taking place, both from the big banks that we already talked about, but guess what? Some of the larger regional or even community financial institutions are already taking advantage of this strategy, and they're geofencing locations that are local to you to send targeted and meaningful messages about deposit products. They're sending digital-based marketing messages likely to your members as well. So competitive forces are everywhere. It's very cutthroat today. If you look at rates, I mean, we're talking offers that are competing within like 1/100% or 1 basis point from one another. It is very, very competitive. And as a result of all this, CEOs getting a little cranky, and we don't want that to happen. Let's look at a real example of pretty much all of this, except maybe that last bullet point. This is a client of ours that was in the same situation. They had a CD promotion that they were working on. So marketing was tasked with driving CDs, and they basically have autonomy to drive this however they choose, using obviously they have a budget that they need to remain within, but they have various avenues at their disposal. In this case, this is a Larky client, so they have access to our channel among everything else that they're doing. So again, CFO tasks them, hey, create this campaign, drive some new deposits, retain those that we already have, go to work, make it happen. So the marketing team convenes, they figure out, all right, let's do a couple different things. Let's have a multi-prong approach. Let's use traditional channels, which included email and direct mail. And then let's use Larky. We've had a lot of success with Larky. Let's put it to the test here as well. So on the left side, we have the Larky campaign. On the right side, we have the traditional marketing campaign, which again encompasses both email and direct mail. On the Larky side, within a minute, they're able to send a nudge. And we affectionately call our push notifications nudges because they're meant to be friendly. They're meant to be little nudges. They're not meant to beat people over the head with marketing. They're not meant to be spam. And so we have a system-based control to limit the amount of messaging that you're sending through this channel so it never becomes spam, so it doesn't become annoying. So nudge is sort of our cute and quirky brand name, but there's also some real philosophy behind why it is a nudge, and it's that gentle reminder. So within a minute, they send a nudge out to the audience that was to receive this campaign. On the other side, they crafted 3 emails. They went through some copywriting and some editing. They went to out to, I think they do their stuff in Canva, and they designed a print mailer. Takes some time to do all that stuff. On the other hand, they sent this out in minutes with Larky. They get an instant engagement. Truly, when we say instant, these notifications go out in just about real time, so you could effectively message your entire membership within a matter of minutes. On the other hand, they had to wait weeks for the print mailer. It got back from the print shop. There was an error. They had to reprint them. Emails were then sent. They were spam filtered. They received people out of office and had fairly low open rates. Sure, some of them got through. Some of them were opened. It's just tough. Email's a tough game these days. Again, compared to the instant engagement through digital push notifications. The incredible thing about this is the Larky message generated 84% of the results from this campaign, and according to the credit union, took 1/10 of the work. I would challenge them on that. I would bet it's even less than that. Again, we're talking minutes to type a couple sentences, identify the audience, and essentially hit send. It's also, there's no pay to play with Larky. You're a client of ours, you have your monthly invoice, and beyond that, there's no incremental cost per campaign, whereas there certainly is with print mail. And so on the traditional campaign, they spent more time, they incurred major expense, and achieved less than 1/5 of the results. And the results are pretty staggering. So we've flipped sides here, and I'm taking a mental note of that. Larky's now on the right, but we brought in through our channel $3.1 million in deposits for the credit union, which is 84% of the results of the overall campaign. And again, it took a fraction of the time, and it took a fraction of the expense. There's next to no expense on our side. There's a bunch on the other side. So 84% with minimal work versus 16% with a lot of work and expense. And so this is funny. We have a lot of clients that have been so successful in driving their initiatives through this channel that their email focus has taken a back burner. And again, I'm not here to tell you to abandon email. I don't even know that that's the right approach, but it does allow a team with limited resources to focus on something that is most effective. And so if you know that this particular notification is going to drive the vast majority of the results that you're trying to accomplish, it almost begs the question of why even bother? Why go through the effort? Why have another team creating additional outreach when you could really rely on digital? And yeah, there's the argument that we may reach more people because not everyone has our mobile banking app. But the point I'm trying to get at is if you have limited resources and a team that doesn't have the bandwidth to take on a whole lot, well, the sensible thing is certainly to do what drives the most results in the shortest amount of time. And so we've proven that time and time again. It's like, yeah, I'm here bragging about us, but this is a real example, and this is just one of many. Clearly, this is a large credit union, so the results are fairly staggering, but it's totally scalable, and so you can accomplish results very, very similar to this. But wait, there's more. So we've talked about using this channel to drive deposits and how critical it can be to drive, in this case, a CD promotion, but also think about engaging those that don't have direct deposit. Again, that was the number one initiative from our poll response earlier. Those that don't have direct deposit probably aren't that engaged. Maybe they're a single service member. Maybe there's opportunity to do a better job, to reach out to them in a way that they pay attention. We've been really successful using this channel to drive adoption of other products and services. In fact, another credit union recently adopted a deposit savings platform with really, really dismal results. They spent a lot of money and a lot of time bringing in this new service. And I would venture that many credit unions are the same way. There are a lot of initiatives, there are a lot of projects that take time and take resources, and then you go to market with it and people don't always know about it, so they fall a little bit flat. This is a really, really great way to bring those initiatives front and center to accomplish the things that you're trying to do, simply because people pay attention to you through this channel. So wait, there's more. Let's talk about a couple other use cases beyond just deposit gathering, because at the end of the day, this is a way for you to drive engagement through digital and to get your voice heard, regardless of what that message may be. I would definitely make the case that even if you want to have a different initiative, say every quarter, and this quarter we're focused on deposits, next quarter we're focused on direct deposit adoption, next quarter we're focused on driving debit card usage. Even if you were narrowly focused on one initiative per set time period, this channel makes sense. In this case, we're talking about lending, so think about using this channel to send relevant messaging to those members that don't have an auto loan with you, or even better yet, that you have intelligence to have an auto loan at another institution, because you know that institution is going to try to eat your lunch, going to try to better engage with your member. Really, really great way to get that message front and center. I'll talk a little bit about our integration with Access Softtech. So the only requirement for a member to get your messaging through this channel is that they have your mobile banking application on their phone. It doesn't have to be running. They don't have to be authenticated into it. It simply has to reside on the phone, and they have to grant initial permissions one time when they first launch the app, once we're a part of it. So fully opt-in experience, nothing really for the member to do other than have the app on the phone. And then you have this audience. You have the power of being able to light up your member's phone with your relevant messaging. Furthermore, and perhaps the most important thing, these are actionable. So if we all put our marketing hats on, we'll note that call to action at the end, that tap for a great rate. We're trying to drive the member somewhere. We're trying to create a frictionless way for the member to engage with you on something that's very relevant. In this hypothetical, we're talking to the member about an auto loan when they're at a dealership, because we've used Larky's geolocation functionality to geofence that dealership and ensure that we're using that as the most powerful segmentation element there. We're talking about auto lending when they're standing in a dealership. But there are other ways to segment that don't include location that make it just as powerful as well. But remember, we are about amplifying your voice and giving the member a really easy way to engage with you. So think back to some of the deposit gathering messaging and talking about CDs, or think about Amex or Chase or Ally Bank that were doing that. They had call to actions in there. If Chase is messaging your members about a really attractive CD, you better believe that they also have the functionality to drive that member to their bank by tapping that notification, taking them to a page where they can quickly fill in their routing number and account number, or do some other form of electronic transfer to bring money into their institution, and we can help you do that as well. Here's another example, just of additional use cases. So we talked about auto lending. Think about debit cards. And this is another thing that you said was important in bringing in deposits, and there's no doubt about it, right? We have to have funds in our checking account in order for those debit card transactions to go through. So cards are certainly a really big, they're a really sticky way to gain PFI status, to bring your credit union top of mind and top of wallet. They're a great way to drive revenue through interchange, but they're a really strong way to also bring in additional deposits and ensure that your members' accounts are funded. So check out this example. This is another example, and by the way, these are all real examples from credit union clients of ours. Proactive Engagement Credit Union is not their actual name. That was my brainchild. Not sure how great it was, but think about this. Member pulls up to a gas station, and if Bob does it, he's reaching for his Amex. But what if Bob pulls up to the gas station and he's about to reach for his Amex and his phone lights up, and he's reminded of your credit union's reward debit card, and hey, maybe that sounds good. Maybe that's better than what Amex is doing. And so it's all about getting in front of the member in a time and place that matters to them and that is helpful to them. And additionally, you're bringing your branding front and center, and we all know the more that they see your brand, the more they think of you, and the more they will come to you in their time of need when they do need that HELOC or that auto loan, or to open that savings account for their kids' college fund, whatever it may be. We've talked a lot about marketing. We've talked a lot about driving deposits and other ancillary products, and how we help the credit union gain adoption of all the things that you have for members to take advantage of. But sort of along the lines of, but wait, there's more. This is a really powerful channel for also communicating things that aren't always about driving a product and service. And it is a really good strategy to pepper in your messaging with both marketing messaging that's helping the member do more with you, but also informational announcements and alerts that are helpful to them, that again aren't always about sales and trying to get them to do something. These are both real examples of operational type announcements that are critical. So think about a card outage and being proactive with the communication and letting your members know that cards are down. I assure you, you're not getting that many eyes on the website when you post the banner ad talking about an operational announcement, or on the other hand, a fraud alert. This is an incredibly popular way and effective way to use this channel, is to mitigate fraud in near real time. Think about a fraud attack, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this recently through text message or SMS, or even phone calls lately, where fraudsters are spoofing you. There's not a really great way to get that message out unless you have this channel that goes directly to your members' eyeballs. So this is a really effective way to say, hey, heads up, it's not us calling, texting, or emailing you. By the way, we'll never ask you for your personal information, and let's remind you even more about how your funds are secure at the credit union and why you should continue to bring your deposits to us. So there are endless use cases with this platform. I really, really like the deposit angle because it's been incredibly successful in helping credit unions accomplish their goals recently. This is a cyclical world we live in, And so we will get to a point where rates are much lower and we're really focused on lending because we have perhaps excess liquidity. And so this is a platform that rolls with the punches, that does what you want it to do, depending on what your objectives are. I think deposits are critical today. And again, even if you focus narrowly on one objective, it works. But just know that as your initiatives change, as you go into your annual strategy and planning meetings, and you talk about the things you're going to do, the branches that you're going to open, the technology that you're going to add, remember, you need a way to communicate that to the members, and you have to have a channel that people pay attention to. Otherwise, all those great efforts and initiatives are gonna struggle a little bit. So, of course, I urge you to tap into this channel. It doesn't have to be us. It just has to be a shift in the mindset of doing what you can to be a bit more proactive with the messaging. I would like to share this with you. So the integration with Access Softtech is live. It's ready for you to take advantage of. Our integration with Access Digital is forthcoming, and it's going to add some enhanced functionality. We are currently rolling out a really, really slick AI model. So you'll be able to go into our platform, simply type in deposit growth, because that's your objective that you want to focus on. Hit go, and the platform will use AI, essentially a chat GPT plugin native to our platform, to create messaging that we know is relevant and meaningful, because we have the data knowing how these particular action verbs and emojis and words resonate with audiences. So I would, if you're short on resources, know that we've got you covered. This doesn't take a whole lot to employ, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get off the ground. We recently looked at 2023 implementations, and throughout last year, we averaged 5 weeks from signing to live, so not a whole lot of time from green light to go, and just 5 hours of staff involvement. So this is not a major initiative. It's not a major project. Again, the integration with Access Softtech is live. We have many, many clients that are already live and using this platform. Figure really a couple hours for testing, an hour or so for training, and then we'll meet with you to understand your strategy and figure out what exactly you're trying to do. And we'll guide you with best practices and help you get it started in the right direction. And then we're always here as a resource for you, and we want you to be ultra successful and scream our praises from the hilltops and say, Larky helped us bring in also $3 million in deposits, or whatever it may be. But we're here to support you both through the initial setup and on an ongoing basis. We'll wrap up here in a moment, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that came in. But I'd like to leave you with this. Just think about modernizing the way that you communicate with your members. Think about Bob. Like, he's out in the world. He's getting confronted with a lot of noise. And so your members are too. Get ahead of the competition, beat them at their own game. Just because they have literally billions of dollars in their marketing war chest doesn't mean that you can't compete in that same really relevant, meaningful way. Bring your brand front and center. Super Bowl's this weekend. I don't want to talk about the teams because my Lions, they're not there. But Super Bowl's this weekend. We all know how expensive Super Bowl ads are. We have clients that are spending nothing, sending notifications out that are scheduled to go out during the game, talking about a HELOC offer, talking about a share certificate. So think about stealing the attention from Rocket Mortgage or whomever that spent millions and millions of dollars to try to get your members' attention on the TV when they're loafing on the couch with their phone in their hand and their phone going off, looking at the phone, looking at your message because you lit up their phone rather than the millions of dollars in advertisement on TV. It's really powerful. And so you are in a position to punch up, to beat your competition at their own game. And then again, think about your future members and how they interact with the world. It's funny, like we always, if any of you have been in this world for long enough, we were always talking about how to get to the millennials, and then now it's how to get to Gen Z, and we're always focused on the younger members. I would say that messaging has fallen off. We're all, it doesn't matter, young, old, we're all in this digital world. And so think about your members today and how they interact with the world. Don't ask them to change. They're not going to do it. I'm not going to unglue myself from my phone. It's just the reality of the world we live in and how I do things. So you have to change to meet them. and have fun. It's super fun because these are short conversational notifications. We employ the use of emoji if that's on brand for you. It's fun to communicate in a conversational and upbeat way, but it's also fun to drive results. And it's really fun, as you saw in the MSUFCU example, to see those results almost immediately where they're getting instant engagement from a notification that took them like a minute to send out. So have fun. Let's answer any questions that you have, but I really appreciate the time. I'm Scott at Larky.com. If we can talk more, I'd love to learn your current challenges, your current success stories, what's working, what you're trying to drive, and let's talk about how we may be able to work together. With that said, Marcus, do we have any questions to go through?
Yeah, let's see if we can get some trickling in here. Again, you can leave those questions in the Q&A function here in Zoom. So you can go ahead and leave those there now. Okay, looks like we've got our first question. Can you talk about your integration with Access Softtech in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, sure. So again, it is fully built out. It's there for you to take advantage of today. We have many credit unions that are already doing so. The Access Digital integration is forthcoming, so that will be there soon. And I think the greatest thing about that is you'll be able to segment down to the individual member. So think about targeting a group of members that don't have direct deposit. You'll be able to identify those, create a segment of non-direct deposit receivers, and enroll them in a campaign where you're sending targeted messaging to them, trying to drive them to direct deposit acceptance, and then continuing to reinforce that with those that have not done so. So the integration is built. I'm not a super technical guy. If you have very technical questions, let me know. I'm always willing and able to get you an answer. But just know the integration heavy lifting has been done. It's actually many years at this place when we continue to work with our partners at Access Softtech to bring you enhanced functionality. And just know that our integration is such that as the product continues to evolve, like I mentioned, the AI component that will be available to you. Our functionality and our integration is such that as the product evolves, your access to the product evolves as well. So it's terrific now. It's there for you. It's easy, and it keeps getting better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the response.
Sure.
You mentioned geofencing. Do you need a separate product to do that? And how many locations can we identify?
Oh, that's a really good question. The short answer is no, you don't need anything else. It's part of our platform. So we look at segmentation a few different ways. And there doesn't have to be segmentation, right? It can be everyone. Like there's messaging that you want everyone to see. Like there's a fraud event taking place or cards are down. But there are also initiatives that you're probably trying to do that require a bit more calculated segmentation. So again, one of the most powerful ways to segment is based on location. So think about, we talked about the auto example where I'm in a dealership, my phone lights up and we're talking about auto lending, and I'm reminded of my credit union relationship, and I'm also able to do the loan right then and there on my mobile device. But also think about geofencing home improvement stores to talk about a HELOC offer, or I love this, and we have so many clients doing this today because it's that whole people helping people credit union mentality, and it's such a great way to do this. They've geofenced title loans and payday loan centers and trying to get their members away from predatory lending environments and giving them a much more palatable and better solution. So you're able to help your member in their time of need and also give them a better option that isn't predatory, that's helpful. And so think about geofencing payday loan centers in your area. And when a member walks up to that building, their phone lights up, they see that there's a better option. We actually have clients that have a big stop sign emoji that says stop, turn around, head over to the credit union, and we'll help you with a better solution. So location's really powerful. I don't know if I touched on this or not, but there's nothing else to do. It's part of the platform. It's as simple as typing an address into like essentially a Google Map search. You just type the location or the name of the location and the city in which you're trying to identify, and then it's there for you to choose from. The next part of that was, are there limitations or limits? No. Geofence as many locations as you want. We have clients that geofence entire home improvement networks within a given county. We have some that have groups of over 4,000 locations. So no, geofence away will help you get calculated with it and make best practices. But Nothing else. It's part of the offering, and it's baked into the platform, ready for you to take advantage of.
Fantastic. Final question here. What product enhancements are you guys working on?
Great question. We kind of touched on it, but wait, before I do that, I can't help myself. One more thing about geofencing, and this is such a cool thing that we've sort of been, this is something that our clients have driven. We haven't really thought about the in-branch experience. We always think about the digital experience as an external thing. And we've had clients that say, hey, what if we were to geofence our branches and then do some cool things with that? And it's such a brilliant way to use the platform in a way that, quite frankly, we can't take credit for. It was clients that thought of it. But yeah, use geofencing also for your branch messaging. So those like limited at-bats that you have when someone's in branch, as soon as they cross that threshold, light their phone up and talk about the CD promo so they're ready to talk to the MSR. Or after they've left, set a timer in our platform. After they've left, send them a survey so you can get NPS scores out of it and gain insight into the member experience. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I know we're past that question, but it's a really, really cool way. Again, sky's the limit, but I love that example. Okay, to get to your question, I promise. Product enhancements. So we're always trying to figure out ways to make the platform easier to use. And one of the things we hear from clients and those that we're talking to are, hey, we've got limited resources, both in terms of time and actual human beings to do this. And so we kind of put our heads together and thought about how can we make this as easy as possible. Quite frankly, it's pretty easy to do today, but how can we take it a step further, make it easy? And so that that AI component that's going to be part of it is really critical because you don't have to put your marketing hat on. We have clients where the CEO is the marketing person and the teller and the lending agent and everything. And so when you're wearing a bunch of hats, it's really hard to focus on one particular thing. And so maybe copywriting isn't your jam. Maybe you need a little bit of help. So again, go in and type in direct deposit adoption, hit send, and it will give you options to choose from where you can create a pre-canned, or it will give you a pre-canned title, pre-canned messaging. You have full ability to edit it, but you don't have to do anything more. Furthermore, one of the latest enhancements is real-time scoring. So we don't expect you to be experts in this area right away or ever really. Use our expertise. We send out millions, tens, if not hundreds of millions of push notifications, and we have data on what resonates with the audience. And so we know specific words that help gain looks and adoption and particular verbs. And so as you're crafting a message, it's scoring it in real time to tell you, hey, this is in line with email. This is better than email. This is way better than email. Or, hey, you could probably do a better job, and this is why. So our product enhancements up until this point are about helping you do a better job in less time and utilizing the platform based on the data that we have at our disposal to share back to you. One other thing to mention, we have an active Larky user group. So as you're a client of ours, you have the ability to really drive the product and drive the shape of future enhancements. So all of our enhancements are client driven.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, for all of the great answers to our Q&A session. That is all of the questions we have today. So I want to give you a big thank you for hosting today's Access Softtech webinar, and I want to thank all of our attendees. If you think of questions after the fact, you can reach out to Scott, or you can reach out to your Access Softtech representative, or you can email learnmore@accesssofttech.com. If you'd like to stay up to date on all future Access Softtech news and events, you can follow us on LinkedIn by scanning that QR code or going to linkedin.com/company/accesssofttech. That's the best way to stay up to date on all future Access Softtech news. Again, thank you, Scott, and to the whole Larky team for presenting today. Again, if you'd like your own personalized demonstration of the Larky solution or anything from Access Softtech, you can reach out to us directly. Thank you again, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all.